people of the world, this might be our last chance. You probably don't know this yet because the media, newspapers and governments are not talking about it. I know because through my research, examining various phenomena and data, I discovered a startling truth. I will show you the immense importance of something we created, something we use daily without much thought, yet almost everyone uses it several times a day. And you should. And in this video you'll find out why. I present to you toilet paper. Yes, you heard me right. If you think I've gone mad, let me tell you something even more absurd. Such an ordinary thing could become the nail in humanity's coffin. If you don't listen to me soon, if we don't change our habits and do something about it, all the forests could disappear from the face of the earth. I will prove it to you. My calculations are not just numbers, they are our future. In this video, we will look at how our consumption of toilet paper affects the environment, what alternatives exist, and what we can do to prevent an ecological disaster. The inspiration for this film was a conversation with my 8-year-old daughter. When I reminded her to flush the toilet, she replied, "Mum, I don't flush because I know that children in Central Africa don't have drinking water, and this way I save water." These words made me think a lot, and were the first step towards considering our daily choices. If a young child can draw an adult's attention to important matters, I feel obliged not to waste this opportunity. This film is a continuation of that reflection. I invite you to discover together how small changes in our habits can have a huge impact on the future of our planet. Let's start with this. Do you know how paper is made? You might say it's made from trees. Well, I used to think so too, and if that were true, our forests would have disappeared at the rate of consuming 11.6 million trees daily. Fortunately, the real number is half that. To achieve this, paper is made from paper pulp, also known as cellulose pulp, a raw material used to produce paper and other paper products. It's mainly made from wood, but can also come from recycled paper, cardboard, and other cellulose materials. Wood is chopped into small pieces and then processed into pulp. In the case of recycling, paper is soaked in water to dissolve the fibers. The pulp is then bleached and purified to remove impurities and obtain a uniform mass. It is then formed into sheets of paper or other products such as packaging, disposable dishes or egg cartons. Paper pulp is an eco-friendly material that can be processed multiple times, making it a more sustainable choice compared to primary raw materials. Now let's look at the numbers. If you're still not convinced, I'll try to paint a picture of consumption in your mind. So first, let's calculate the global consumption of toilet paper. We can assume that the average daily consumption per person is just under half a roll and multiply it by the number of people in the world, which is about 8 billion. That gives us over 2 billion rolls. That's a lot, right? Let me tell you more. Imagine that each roll of toilet paper is about 10 centimeters high. If we stacked them one on top of the other, the tower would be about 200,000 kilometers high. That's more than half the distance from Earth to the Moon, or over 600 times the height of the International Space Station from Earth. Such an amount would cover an area the size of Great Britain every day. Assuming that producing one roll of toilet paper requires about 0.23 kilograms of pulp, we can calculate how many rolls can be obtained from one tree, which gives us about 4,000 pieces. To calculate how many trees are needed to produce 2.32 billion rolls of toilet paper daily, we can use the data that one tree produces about 907 kilograms of paper pulp. This gives us approximately 590,000 trees. However, we must consider that this is an approximate number, as not everyone in the world uses toilet paper. To visualize the area occupied by such a number of trees, we can assume that one tree occupies an average of about 10 square meters. For better visualization, this gives us just under 6 square kilometers, roughly the area of 840 football fields, or the combined area of Central Park in New York and Disneyland in California, or almost the size of Gibraltar. But this is just the beginning. On average, about 400 million tons of paper pulp are consumed annually worldwide. To produce 1 ton of paper, about 17 trees are needed. Therefore, to produce the million tons of paper pulp consumed daily, about 18.5 million trees are needed. As you can see, this number of trees has more than tripled. Isn't that alarming? Wait, there's more. As you might guess, we don't just produce paper from trees, but also furniture and various materials made from wood, and rightly so. You might be curious about the quantity, right? The total amount is 15 million hectares of trees cut down annually, posing a serious threat to us all. It's like losing an area the size of Greece or Nepal from the Earth's surface every year. There are about 3 trillion trees in the world. A lot? It might seem so, but soon you'll see how this translates into actual tree loss and realize the real threat. Scientists have estimated that 42 million trees are cut down daily, while about 5 million are planted daily, giving us a net loss of 37 million trees. But that's not all, as we must also add the number of trees lost due to fires. In 2023, there was a record increase in forest fires by 23%, totaling about 12 million hectares, roughly the area of Nicaragua. This additional loss of trees means that trees disappear daily over an area equal to New York City. In total, we lose trees over an area of 270,000 square kilometers annually, equivalent to the size of Italy or New Zealand. If you still have any doubts, to convince you of how serious this matter is, I calculated how many years it might take for tree resources to run out in this case. Watch out, the number is 41 years. Yes, the likelihood that we will live to see this is enormous. This is not idle talk, these are facts. That's why forest protection is so crucial. It is not only an element of the fight against global warming and biodiversity loss. If we don't wake up, it will trigger the worst possible scenario. The disappearance of all forests would have catastrophic consequences for humanity, animals, and the entire planet. Here are the effects we should expect for our Mother Earth. Did you know that forests protect the soil from erosion? Yes, without them, soils affected by erosion will start to lose their properties, which can lead to reduced fertility and the ability to support vegetation. They will become unusable, then start to dry out, become barren, and eventually desertify. This isolated area will be habitable only by a narrow number of species adapted to this purpose, as living conditions will be extreme and limited. Forests are not only our lungs, but also play a significant role in regulating the water cycle, helping with water retention and influencing the water cycle, helping to regulate rainfall and prevent floods. Their absence will bring extreme weather conditions to our globe, as well as changes in river flows and increased risk of droughts. What does this mean? The disappearance of forests would have catastrophic consequences for humanity, animals, and the entire planet. For example, hydrological changes caused by deforestation and increased carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere will lead to increased rainfall intensity. The rise in atmospheric temperature will cause more moisture to be retained in the atmosphere, leading to heavy rainfall and resulting in more frequent and destructive floods, especially in low-lying regions and along rivers. Higher temperatures will lead to the melting of snow and ice, reducing snow cover and affecting water resources in regions dependent on snowmelt, thereby decreasing water availability. In regions where snowmelt is the primary water source, reduced snow cover will lead to less water available in rivers and reservoirs. This will impact drinking water supplies, agriculture and industry. Earlier snowmelt will lead to earlier and more intense river flows in spring, which can cause flooding. In summer, when water demand is highest, flows may be significantly lower, leading to droughts. This will change living conditions for many plant and animal species, leading to reduced biodiversity and ecosystem destabilization. The regions most affected by this disaster will be those dependent on snowmelt, such as the Himalayas and Central Asia regions like the Himalayas, Tian Shan and Pamir are heavily dependent on snowmelt as a water source for rivers that supply millions of people with drinking water and irrigation. The Andes in South America, these mountains are a crucial water source for countries like Peru, Chile and Argentina. Snowmelt there feeds rivers essential for agriculture and water supply. The Rocky Mountains and Sierra Nevada in North America, these mountains provide water for many regions in the United States and Canada. Reduced snow cover in these mountains affects water resources in California and other western states. Water supply problems will lead to many negative consequences. Shortages can lead to restrictions on access to clean water, affecting residents' health and quality of life. Limited water access will lead to tensions and conflicts between different social groups, regions, or even countries competing for resources. Agriculture, which relies on snowmelt water for irrigation, will suffer from shortages. This will lead to reduced crop yields, higher food prices, and food security issues. There will be degradation of aquatic ecosystems, affecting biodiversity and the stability of these ecosystems. Lower river flows will impact water quality, reducing rivers' ability to dilute pollutants and maintain healthy ecosystems. Droughts and water shortages will increase vegetation and forest fires, leading to further environmental degradation. The situation will force people to migrate in search of better living conditions, leading to social and economic problems in regions receiving migrants. Water supply problems will affect the economies of regions dependent on agriculture and other sectors requiring large amounts of water, leading to decreased production and increased unemployment. In the face of such a catastrophe, regions will need to invest in water resource management technologies and strategies such as seawater desalination, water recycling, and efficient irrigation. General panic will ensue, riots will break out, and widespread chaos will lead governments to take drastic measures. Political divisions will occur, and the economic market will collapse. Corporate giants, including those in the USA, managing the world's largest capital, will take control of the situation. Dependent countries will suffer not only from a lack of resources, but also from natural disasters and widespread unemployment. The global market will collapse, and spreading hunger will lead to riots, serious armed conflicts, and consequently depopulation of cities and emigration of citizens. Another problem we will face is extreme weather conditions. Floods will become a nightmare, and their intensity will force people to migrate, just like severe droughts. Reduced snow cover and changes in the water cycle will lead to longer and more intense drought periods, affecting agriculture, water resources and ecosystems. Hurricanes and cyclones will ravage coastal cities. Higher ocean temperatures will lead to more frequent and intense phenomena that humanity has never seen before. Droughts and higher temperatures will increase the risk of fires in dried vegetation and remaining forests, accelerating further environmental degradation and biodiversity loss. What does this mean for living organisms inhabiting our planet? As we know, forests are home to about 70% of all plant and animal species. Their disappearance would mean the mass extinction of many species and a complete disruption of the food chain. Sounds terrifying, right? This is what awaits us if we do nothing, all because of our excessive consumerism and thoughtlessness. But that's not all. The level of CO2 in the atmosphere will significantly increase, accelerating global warming. The increase in CO2 concentration will lead to more heat being trapped in the atmosphere, causing global temperatures to rise. It is estimated that tropical forests alone absorb about 1.5 billion tons of CO2 annually. A temperature increase of a few degrees Celsius over a few decades will lead to rising sea levels, which will have serious consequences for coastal areas and islands worldwide. The most affected areas will be Bangladesh. A large part of this country lies at a low level, making it particularly vulnerable to floods and erosion. Florida, USA. Many cities like Miami will be flooded due to rising sea levels. The Netherlands, although it already uses advanced water protection systems, further sea level rise will lead to disaster. Islands such as the Maldives. This archipelago is one of the most threatened places in the world, as most islands lie just a few meters above sea level, making its future seem doomed. Kiribati, this island nation in the Pacific, is also experiencing the effects of rising sea levels, forcing residents to migrate. One can already guess what fate awaits it soon. The Marshall Islands, like Kiribati, they're at risk of flooding and erosion. This is already happening, so is it worth sitting idly by? Rising sea levels will cause coastal erosion, leading to land loss and infrastructure destruction. This is not all we should expect. Low-lying areas will be completely flooded, forcing residents to relocate. The intrusion of salt water into groundwater will affect the availability of fresh water and agriculture, leading to reduced resources and medicines. This will impact the lives of millions of people worldwide. Droughts and floods will lead to reduced crop yields and increased food prices. Increased air pollution and climate change will cause health problems such as respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. Are these not sufficient reasons to pause for a moment, stand still and think about whether there is something we can do to stop this speeding train? What good is the pursuit of money or fame if we face such a fate? Our future is in our hands, so it's time for change. It's enough to throw paper into the appropriate container, send an email with a file instead of a postcard from vacation or printed photos, or simply share this knowledge that I'm now sharing with you, sending it into the future to change our present while there is still time. Perhaps in this way, those 41 years, if managed differently, will not be a sentence. Not everything is lost. We still have time. We all have time. Everyone has an impact on the fate of our forests, on our future. Not everything is lost. Here are some actions for forest and environmental protection and ways that can prevent this catastrophe. The most important aspect is public awareness of the problem, which can stop this vicious cycle. And this is what my video serves. Education and educational campaigns aim to raise awareness about the importance of forests and the need to protect them, which can stop this process. Supporting local communities, collaborating with local communities to promote sustainable agricultural and forestry practices that reduce pressure on forests. sustainable forest management through the use of certifications such as FSC, Forest Stewardship Council, and PFC, Programme for the Endorsement of Forest Certification, which promote responsible forest management considering both ecological and social needs. Purchasing these products protects our trees. Here is the logo of the certifications you should look for on products. These products cover a wide range of items, mainly from the wood and paper industries. They can include paper and paper products, notebooks, books, packaging, cartons, furniture tables, chairs, wardrobes made from certified wood, building materials, boards, panels, plywood, everyday products, tissues, paper towels, paper bags, and many others. These certifications protect our environment. They guarantee that raw materials come from sustainably managed forests, meaning that tree felling is conducted in a way that minimizes negative impacts on forest ecosystems. Additionally, certified forests are managed with respect for the rights of local communities and workers, including fair working conditions and human rights compliance. Products with FSC or PEFC certification are tracked at every stage of production, ensuring that raw materials come from responsible sources. Having certification increases consumer trust, as more people choose environmentally friendly and socially responsible products. Reforestation programs involve planting trees in areas where forests have been cut down. Afforestation is the planting of trees in areas that were not previously forested. If each of us planted just one tree, we could extend the lifespan of forest by a month with a single gesture. Protecting protected areas is a necessary measure. Creating national parks, nature reserves and other protected areas and managing them to protect biodiversity and forest ecosystems is crucial. If each of us were aware that in 41 years, if we don't change our habits, all forests would disappear from the Earth's surface, most of us would reconsider the amount of paper we use during our next visit to the toilet, the purchase of a wooden table, or disposing of used products in the proper waste container. Using technological solutions is essential. Using electronic documents and communication, recycling paper, and choosing recycled paper products are important measures. Electronic documents and communication are key elements of modern administration and business, reducing paper consumption. All documents saved in digital form, which can be stored, transmitted, and processed using computers and other electronic devices, include files like PDF, DOSX, XLSX, JPG, and many others. These documents can be electronically signed, ensuring their authenticity and integrity. Electronic communication includes all forms of information exchange using electronic means, such as email, document management systems, EPUAP, electronic platform of public administration services, and other online tools. Thanks to electronic communication, it is possible to quickly and efficiently send documents, submit applications, and conduct official and business correspondence. The use of these solutions is a very important factor in forest protection. See how important our conscious decision is in this matter for each of us. Do you see it now? What else can we do to change our future? Using alternative materials such as bamboo, hemp, or other fast-growing plants, which can replace wood in the production of paper and other products. Supporting organizations that work to protect forests through donations, volunteering, or participating in campaigns. Supporting policies and regulations that protect forests, such as bans on logging in certain areas, promoting sustainable agriculture and forestry, and enforcing environmental protection laws. Through these actions, we can collectively contribute to forest protection and prevent the deforestation catastrophe. creating national parks, nature reserves, and other protected areas managed to protect biodiversity and forest ecosystems. Thanks to such awareness of the problem, we can act and stop the vicious cycle we are heading towards. I hope my film has opened your eyes to this real threat. It's worth considering our choices, such as whether the next pair of shoes, a watch, or a new phone is really necessary. Can you step away from standards and prevailing trends, thereby reducing the scale of the widespread problem of consumerism and supporting ecology? See how a seemingly innocent product like toilet paper can draw attention to a serious problem and change the perception of the world. I hope you now know and understand this. Maybe now you will be able to see what others do not. Sometimes a single moment, a small gesture, one step, a small decision can influence the fate of the entire world, and I wish this for you and all of us. The film is based on true facts and scientific research results according to the script of the originator, author Tuckett. All rights reserved.